Hi there, welcome to a quick rundown of the new features in LipSync Pro version 1.53. As always, there are a few bug fixes and improvements, and you'll be able to find the full change list for all those small details on the Asset Store and on our website. Because this is one of the last releases of version 1 of LipSync Pro, I decided to focus mainly on the AutoSync system, because AutoSync will be going into LipSync Pro 2 almost unchanged. The smallest of the changes are to phoneme sets, and you might have seen if you follow things on here that I did a poll a little while ago seeing how much use phoneme sets I actually saw, because I've had to change the way they work to some extent. Now if you're not familiar, phoneme sets are the system LipSync Pro uses to control what phoneme markers are available and what phonemes show up on the character. By default there's just one phoneme set included, and that is this, the Preston Blair English set. So if you've made your own phoneme sets before or looked into this, this will look slightly new to you. The scripting name is still there, although you can see it's probably in a different place, but the main body of this is that everything is now in just this one big list. It's reorderable, so you can drag these around to change the order they show up in, which will also update these 1 to the bit mask numbers at the side here. And you can set the guide images, which are the little pictures that show up in the corner of the scene view when you're editing a phoneme on a character. You can set these straight in here. The only new thing to be added is this important checkbox. This setting is available for use by AutoSync modules. So for instance, the phoneme marker cleanup module and the set intensity by volume module both now look at this is important check mark to decide whether to remove markers or set their volume. This is useful because often markers like FV, which have the lips kind of close together, or which is in the same boat, these markers are much more important for the overall visual look than things like the generic consonant or A or E or whatever. Some of these markers can be removed without actually affecting the overall quality of the animation, or in some cases even improving it, whereas if these are missing, you tend to lose some of the syllables themselves. This will probably only affect a fairly minor number of users, but if you have created phoneme sets yourself before, you'll need to update them to a new format in order to keep using them. This is just because in order to facilitate this I had to change the way phoneme sets are actually stored internally. It shouldn't be a big job. All you'll need to do is go to Window, Rogo Digital LipSync Pro, and do Update Phoneme Sets. So we'll just go through all the list, similar to the old Update XML files for old XML format, and it'll just make them work with the new version. So moving on to the biggest change in this update, the AutoSync window itself. I'll just open up a clip here, like the Gettysburg demo, and open the AutoSync menu. Now you may notice there's actually one option missing now. That's because under the new AutoSync window, the batch processor has been rolled into it. Now this looks quite different to the old one, but all the functionality is still there, and actually new functionality has been added. The way most people use this is by using presets, so all that functionality is still there. Just instead of being displayed in a list here, they're now under this menu here. So you click load and choose the preset you want, and it will straight away just be loaded in. Modules, then, as you can see, are now just displayed in this list. They can be reordered much more easily by clicking and dragging in this list, and in order to edit the settings you just click on a module and all the settings show up down here. So you'll notice up in this new clips list up at the top here that we have clip editor contents, and that's just this one item that's greyed out. By default this is added to your list, and that just represents everything in the clip editor. So if you use this, just press run now, it'll run whatever modules you've set on the clip editor contents, just like AutoSync did before. But if you want to use it as a batch processor, instead of being in a separate window, you can now just add more clips to this list. This lets you actually use the clip editor contents and process other clips at the same time, or you can just remove the clip editor contents entirely if you only want to process things in other files. Another thing you may notice that's new is that these warnings are now specific to the clip that is selected. So if I add the clip editor contents back in, you'll see it doesn't actually show up any warnings or errors here. because the clip editor contents can be run just fine. If I select this, where the warning icon is, it now tells us what modules have the warnings and gives us more information when we select them. This, along with the skip failed clips option, which will just ignore a clip that fails to run or doesn't meet these requirements, lets you much more easily run large batches of clips, even if they don't all necessarily work out. If you're looking at this list here, you'll notice there's an audio clip icon here. Clicking on this will toggle between the input being an audio clip and a LipSync data clip. This means that you can now run AutoSync on existing LipSync data files. So if I select one like this, and it automatically sets the output to be the same clip, so it'll just overwrite, based on that setting, the clip that was loaded in. You can use this to easily make modifications to existing clips, and it can be good for localization and various other things like that. I'll be making a video later that goes over exactly how to use this system for localizing a game into a new language. Another useful new feature is the output mode up here. You can use this to select from different modes. So to LipSync data is the classic way it ran, and we'll just save the output of AutoSync into a new LipSync data asset. But you can also choose to XML, which is the same as the old XML setting, to clip editor, which will send the output to the clip editor itself, and append to previous, which will append all the audio clip and all the data in this to the clip before it in the list. So if I rearrange this to make it happy, the output of this will be whatever is in the clip editor at present and whatever is in this Gettysburg file, with the modules run on both, stuck together sort of end to end, and pasted straight into the clip editor. You can see at the bottom here we have an output summary, and this just lists everything that will be created and where it will go, and also what it's based on. So you can use this to create actually quite complicated sort of setups of multiple files, all going to different places in different orders and things like that. So under this setting you can see that will be appended not to the clip editor contents, but to this Tempest asset that's created there. As you can probably imagine, it's quite a flexible system, but if you're just trying to use it for the basic functions that it had before, that should be just as simple really, without any extra work required. That's it for new features actually baked into this release, but there are also new modules and updates for modules that are coming fairly soon as well. The biggest new module is this, the Microsoft Azure Speech Recognition module, which is finally finished. This does exactly what it says on the tin. It's able to send off an audio clip that you've got for processing to the Microsoft Azure Speech Recognition Cloud and return a transcript from it that can be used in other modules like the Montreal Aligner module. I've implemented all the various languages that it supports, even though most of these aren't supported by the rest of LipSync, but they're supported by Azure, so they're included. And all you'll need to run this module is a subscription key and a region that you can get from setting up an account with Azure. I've obviously had to blur mine out here because I forgot it was in there. And this new module will also come with a new preset, Transcribe, then MFA, which just does the job of transcribing it and running Montreal Forced Aligner just like the default English preset does. Also coming at the same time as the 1.53 update are updates to two of the existing modules. The new Marker Cleanup module includes new smarter ways of filtering out markers and also retiming markers so it can move them around instead of just deleting them. And also the Intensity from Volume module has a better curve built in, which doesn't start all the way down at 0. And it also includes this Apply Curve Relative option. When this is ticked, the bottom of the curve, instead of being an absolute 0 kind of silence, will apply instead to the quietest part of your clip, and by the same token the top of the curve applies to the loudest part instead of some kind of arbitrary absolute. This can just help to provide much better response for quieter and louder clips. And both of these modules now also respect the importance boolean in phoneme sets that we looked at earlier. Finally, in the Montreal Forced Aligner module, if I bring this up, we have our first language models. The French module won't be out quite so soon because I still need to finish working on the phoneme map for that, but the German module is finished and totally working, and along with the transcription module supporting German as well, means that both English and German can now be used completely without a pre-existing transcript. Now obviously the speech recognition isn't totally free because it's a third-party cloud computing service. You can look at Microsoft's website. I think I'll include a link in the description so you can see their full pricing structure, but it is quite reasonable and they offer a certain amount for free every month as well. I had to use it a fair bit while I was testing this module out, and I didn't go over the free limit. I don't think I even came close to it, so it shouldn't be too costly. So as I said at the start, this will probably be the last version of LipSync Pro in the kind of 1.x cycle. I'll be doing a new video fairly soon showing off LipSync Pro 2 and iController 2. They're very, very big updates. They're more total rewrites from the ground up, and yeah, a lot to show on them, but I'll save that for another video. Thanks for watching, I'll see you later.